All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, a lot of times on these podcasts, I should say, or my YouTube channel, I'm always trying to help men for the most part, and women can do a lot of these things as well, obviously, is just how to live an extraordinary life affordably. In this case, what I want to talk about is, a deal isn't always a deal unless you need it. I'm not sure how I'm going to word this, but that's something my father always said. And I think it's really like words of wisdom regarding that. Because, I'm always trying to tell people if you are going to buy something, try to, find it on sale or try to work out a deal to your advantage of some sort. You don't want to always pay full retail for something, or you don't want to pay always top dollar. Now, if you're a multimillionaire or a billionaire, you can buy whatever the hell you want. God bless you. Do what you got to do. But I do think a lot of times just by being a little more savvy can go a long way. Or on the other hand, too, if you can't afford a lot of things, really becoming creative and figuring out a way to still get what you want again. And you can be doing different things as far as bartering or just exchanging things that may, or just, again, get creative to figure out how to get what you want, is what I should say. But back to a deal. There's billions of deals out there, right? And you can, if you put some fire under your ass, you'd be shocked at what you can find for sale for a lot less money. That could go for homes, cars. It could go for many different things. It could go for wardrobe, or clothing. It can go for any type of possessions, anything you need, right? A deal. There's just billions of deals out there. But here's the thing: what I think breaks a lot of people's backs regarding something they like is they keep looking for deals, and they keep finding them, which is great. They keep purchasing things. Before you know it, they're in debt or broke. When you're getting anything in life, do you really need it? Now, I'm not talking about things that you just want. If you want a boat, you want a boat, right? Do you really need it? I mean, do you? Do you really want to maintain it? Do you really, a lot of times, want to take the hit after buying it, especially if you buy it new? Those are things you need to think about because, again, you can go out and still get a great deal on a boat that's a couple years old, used. But what is that going to also do to you financially? Is it going to bring more stress to you? Is it going to make, are you going to become more in debt? Are you, what really is the payoff, really? And I don't think a lot of people know this, especially when you're younger, because you get caught up buying, and I've done it myself, tons of different things that a lot of times you're just losing your ass on, especially if you start buying clothing and accessories and sometimes big ticket items. It could be sports cars or any car in general. You may be caught, and it's not even a shopaholic type thing, just so I'm making myself clear. But I think you get caught between coming up with excuses why you're always spending money because you're always like, I couldn't pass up this deal. And you've probably heard that a million times. Oh, my goodness, I had to buy it. I had no other choice. Where am I going to get it for this price again? How am I going to ever find that again? All these things, and sometimes, don't get me wrong, a lot of times, you may pass on something and you regret it. I've been there many times. I'm like, man, I should have got that. It was such a unique piece. Or I should have got this because I could have flipped it and made twice as much money because it was, whatever. And if you're kind of doing things regarding that as a deal goes, so you can, the thing you're buying, you can at least break even and be legit about it. Don't bullshit yourself, because a lot of people are like, I'm going to buy this for this and then use it for 6 months or a year, and then I know I'm going to break even or I'm going to make X amount of money. Then you go to sell it or you go to get rid of it and it's worth nothing. This happens to tons of people. So my point being, again, is a deal always is not a deal, is what I should say. Because unless you really, really need it, if you kind of go with people a lot of times, I don't care if you go to a mall and you see a lot of things that they're buying and then follow them to their closet. A lot of things that they purchase for the most part are things that are almost identical or very close to what they already have. They're almost, I'm not saying hoarders, they're collectors. And again, you could be out there shopping for all sales. And I think a lot of us see this with, I'd say, I don't want to throw women under the bus, but if you're married or you have a girlfriend, or even if you have friends that are women, you go in their closets, and I call it dead inventory. A lot of them have a substantial amount of shoes, a lot of shoes. A lot of them have a lot of clothing, a lot of accessories, and I'm not here to dig on them. But I know so many women that are broke. Can't even afford to sometimes get their nails done. A lot of them can't afford their car payments. They can't afford, rent at times. But they're still out there spending. But how they offset it is by thinking, listen, I went there and I got it for 70% off. I found a deal online, so I had to order it. Again, what are you doing? And dudes do the same thing a lot of times. And I discussed this even on another YouTube video I did regarding watches, which, I loved collecting high-end watches in my past. But after a while, I had to sit back and say, listen, I have, whatever. I don't know how much money I had in watches at one time. What are any of these watches truly doing for me? And one of my first watches, high-end, I caught a really unbelievable deal on a Rolex. Really good deal. And I thought that even when I sold it, I'd really make a killing on it. But I didn't. I'm going to tell you right now, because one is I had to find somebody to buy it, and I wanted to sell it cash. And this is before the online days really were that popular. So you had to do it personally. But still, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm getting the Rolex for this. It's legit, and they're normally new. They're worth this much. There's no way I can't, come out of this alive, or I'm going to make money. And then after having it, and then having it fixed, and then, even the bands, you don't realize how much money those are, and then all these different types of things. Sometimes a deal isn't also the deal you think it is. So you just got to be very aware of this, especially when you're younger. Because I think as we get older, we're kind of like getting set in our ways. We're like, we know what we want. We've kind of had a lot of losses, I guess. So you kind of learn your way financially over the years. Like, is this really going to make me happy? Spending this money on these type of things? Or is it worth me making payments for 60 months? A lot of times when you get older, you're like, I like a boat, but my buddy's got a boat. I'll just ride his boat and pay for the gas. Or if I want to go on a boat for a weekend, I'll just go to the Keys and rent one, Or if I'm going to go fishing, I'm just going to go, off the pier, or again, go rent the boat, or go with my buddies on vacation. It could be even like, say, snow skiing, hypothetically. Should I, there's a great deal on snow skis. I say I live in Florida. Do I need to go buy those and my winter wear to go skiing when I literally probably could go there and rent them or borrow someone else's, even if it's not at the same level? But do I really need the things that I think I need? And if you look also at a lot of people's garages, I look at them, including ours, and I'm like, there's I'll get like 100 boxes in here. Why is all this sitting here if we're not using it? What are we truly using? And, I'm not here to even dig on myself or my family. And I get a lot of things you do use. I'm not going to say you don't. But a lot of shit is just a lot of wasted money. You can be kind of maybe, and here's the thing. A lot of people have a lot of possessions, and I'm about minimizing things, but they can't go do things they wanted to do, which doesn't make even more sense. So a lot of people I hear saying, Rich, I want to travel like you. I want to go do all these things, but I can't because I got the mortgage, or I got this or that. I'm thinking, or I have credit card debt, or I got all these, I've been there. But if you go to their house, they've spent all this money on things that have kind of boxed themselves in. And I did a video on that, like how, I can't remember the way I worded it, but your possessions restricting you from kind of going and doing what you want to do too. So as much as you're buying things, you think they're fulfilling you, you don't use a lot of them. And then before you know it, you owe all this money, or you have all these things. They're really not doing anything for you. And now you want to go do other things and you can't afford to do them. So kind of like what I was saying earlier, but pay attention to these things. Like I was saying, yeah, because I'm sick of it myself now that I'm in my 50s. And I remember when I was younger, I am going to wrap it up with this. I was actually at a theme park because my family used to come to Florida all the time, and I'd always be at theme parks with them because we had season tickets to all the parks, Universal, Disney, Wet n Wild, SeaWorld. And I remember walking with the kids, and my kids I programmed, because we lived in Florida, not to bother me with bullshit. They already had too much Disney stuff. Plus, everybody gave them stuff. They would just go to the park, and how I trained them to do this, I'm like, you want something here, I'll buy it, but you carry it the whole day. And I can assure you real quick, your kids will get sick of carrying shit. I don't even care if it's at the mall. But nonetheless, my kids were done asking me for shit. They didn't want to carry it all day. They just wanted to have fun, ride rides, eat food. I can't say junk food, and have fun. But I was walking with my uncle, and he had 6 kids with him at the time. And they kept asking for things more and more. And he kept looking at him and go, do you really need this? And that's all he said. And I'm like, yeah, do they need this? And I'm not saying they don't need things. Obviously, they need a lot of things. But if you really look at a lot of stuff that we spend money on, do we need it? Do we? I don't think so, most of the shit we're buying. It doesn't mean I'm telling you I'm not telling you to dress down, that you don't need clothes. I'm not telling you don't need certain things. But a lot of things, if you walk into a mall, and I had a discussion with a friend of mine who I do podcasts with, a lot of times he goes shopping, and he picks out everything, may try it on, and then when he's about to leave, he looks at it and goes, should I get this? And he says most of the time, he's like, I already have most of this. And he just leaves. Because it's almost sometimes, it's like, it's fun to shop, but you don't always need to buy. And I'm not telling you to waste your time either. But a lot of times, it's almost, you do get caught up in the moment. And, it's an impulse thing. A lot of our life, I talk about, is based on moods. A lot of things you're buying sometimes could just be the mood you're in. But then 2 months or 3 months down the line, you're like, I am not in the mood to, again, take care of this. I'm not in the mood to even do this anymore. I don't care if it's even fitness related. So many people buy these home gyms. They have all this, interest in doing it. Then after a month or two, they're like, oh man, this equipment, I don't like it. It's just not what I thought it was. I'm not sticking with it. And before you know it, that's worth 10 cents on a dollar. So these are just, again, things I'm just mentioning that I've seen over the years. So I'm going to wrap it up there. If you want, check out my YouTube channel. I've been doing a lot of different things on how to save money and how to live an incredible life affordably. That goes for wardrobe, accessories, identity, and many other things as well. Also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up. All right, take care.